Hey, this is Jasen Rice from Lotpop. I want to go over this week's quick tip, and what I found is a black hole in pricing. We'll go over that right after this. Hey, Jasen Rice again from Lotpop. What I want to go over this week's tip is there's this black hole I've noticed in pricing, and here's what I mean by that. I push a lot of dealerships to flat pricing. I want a car priced at 20 grand and not 19,995. But irregardless, most of this, what I'm going to show you is charts derivative off that flat pricing strategy. So this black hole that I'm talking about, I've seen it a lot in high dollar, high volume vehicles. Let's say Jeep Wranglers, trucks, Sierras, F-150s that are 35, 40 grand. And what happens is, and I'm going to show you a few graphs, but I'm going to give you the theory first. Let's say you have a truck priced at 40 grand and you're at 100% of the market. Let's say then somebody goes and does a search for a truck 30 to 40 grand. And there's 8 pages on autotraderofcars.com and trucks. Well, it's high to low. They search high to low. The default's high to low on these sites. So at 40 grand, you're at the top of that search. They see it. You get a ton of SRPs. You get a ton of exposures. The chart goes crazy. But they don't click on it possibly because it's priced at average market and it's at the top of their budget. Now what happens a few weeks later, you start dropping the price and dropping the price $500, $1,000, another 500, and you're dropping this price. And I've seen, again, 35 to 40 grand, I've seen us get these vehicles down to 37.5 and no one's paying attention to this truck. How do we take a truck and drop 2 grand to 2,500 off of it, and all of a sudden it just disappears and no one even considers it, and we're not getting traction on it? And what happens is, again, 35 to 40 grand, there's 8 pages. They'll go through page 1 and page 2 of those trucks, right? Again, they might not click it at 40 grand. Then they might flip it low to high, and they're going to go through page 1 and page 2. They're not really going to page 3 and 4. They're not going 4 or 5 pages deep on their search. So when I'm at 40 grand and I drop it and drop it, you'll see the searches just start dropping on that vehicle. All of a sudden, you're at 37.5, which is right in the middle, and that's that black hole. You're not at 35 and you're not at 40, and if there's 8 pages of these vehicles, they're not getting to page 4 and 5 to actually see your truck. So here's a couple examples. This even works on like 18 grand vehicles. This chart here, you're going to see we started at 20 grand. The yellow line is the price. The black line is a 5-day average of searches. So at 20 grand, you see that huge spike. And we dropped it to 19.5, we dropped it to 19, we dropped it to 18.5, and now it's at 18, and you start seeing that spike go back up. Okay, there's another example here of a truck. Now, what happened, we started out at 42.5. Remember, that's the middle of 45 and 40. So at 42.5, you can see that black line is very low. We went to 42, 41.5, 41, 40,005. It wasn't until 40 grand where we see this big spike. Now, dropping it back down again, you're going to 38, and as we're dropping and getting more aggressive, that goes back down again. So there's this black hole where if you get these popular price bands, 15 grand, 18 grand, 20 grand, 35, 40 grand, you're going to get the spikes, but if you have to discount it, all of a sudden it becomes this black hole. So it mostly has to do with high volume vehicles. Again, if it's a Bentley or BMW or one that's not that many out there, if they're looking for a specific vehicle and there's only 10, this theory don't work. But when there's a huge volume of this type of vehicle, somebody does a sedan search or a truck search and there's 8, 10 pages, and you go and they search 35 to 40 grand. If you're high priced at 40, you're not going to get a whole lot of activity, get a lot of searches, but no one's clicking on it or calling on you. But if you're priced at 40 grand and you're 90% of the market, that's when the thing sells. So it's almost like a stocking strategy. I tell my dealers I would almost avoid that truck that if I bought it and priced it at market average, I'm at 40 grand, unless there's something special about that truck. If it's a normal truck, you might not get the exposure, and as you drop it down, it's tougher and tougher to sell because you lose exposure. There's some charts I showed you today. If you kind of get that, if you have any other questions or more information on it, give me a call at 844-LOTPOP4 or email me at jrice@lotpop.com. Thanks.